You've seen the videos. The howls, the whines, the full-blown meltdowns that look and sound like a toddler who was just told no. A Siberian Husky, staring its owner dead in the eye, letting out a sound that's part wolf, part ambulance, and part pure, unadulterated drama. It's hilarious, and honestly, it's made them internet famous. But what if all that noise, all that so-called drama, isn't just a funny quirk? What if it's a ghost, like a 9,500-year-old echo from the frozen Arctic, a complex language that we've only just started to understand? So what's really going on when a husky throws its head back and unleashes that soul-stirring howl? Is it a tantrum, or is something far more fascinating at play? The truth is buried deep in their DNA, forged in the brutal cold of Siberia, where communication wasn't just a habit, it was a tool for survival. The sounds your husky makes aren't random. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on more animals, travel, and lifestyle content like this. Let's get started. They are a complex, emotional, and deeply ingrained form of communication, a direct line to their ancient past and a way of speaking to their modern-day pack, you. Today, we're going to decode the husky language. We'll unravel why they cry, what those infamous screams really mean, and what your dog is desperately trying to tell you. By the end of this video, you'll never hear those cries the same way again. To understand the cry of a modern husky, we have to go way back. Not just a few hundred years, but thousands. Archaeological findings have pushed the origin of sled dogs back to at least 9,500 years ago, to a time when humans and dogs forged a partnership to survive in some of the harshest environments on Earth. These weren't pets in the way we think of them now. They were vital members of a human canine team. Bred by the Chukchi people of Siberia, the ancestors of today's huskies were essential for transportation and survival. They worked in large teams, pulling sleds over vast frozen landscapes where you couldn't always see each other. In these conditions, their voice was their lifeline. A howl wasn't just a howl, it was a long-distance call to find a separated pack member. A specific cry could signal danger, tell the team to change pace, or just be a roll call to make sure everyone was there. This wasn't barking. In fact, most huskies rarely bark in the traditional sense. Their vocal range is far more nuanced, a whole spectrum of sounds designed to carry meaning over long distances. Think about it. In the biting wind and blinding snow of the Arctic, a sharp bark gets lost. But a melodic rising and falling howl can travel for miles, its unique sound telling the pack exactly who's calling. This is the genetic bedrock of your husky's voice. They are pack animals to their core, and their instinct to communicate with their group is as strong today as it was thousands of years ago. That deep, primal urge to be heard, to connect with their pack, didn't just vanish when they moved from the tundra to your living room. It's a ghost in their genes, always waiting for a reason to speak up. So what are they actually saying? A husky's vocal range is less a single noise and more a complete dictionary. Each sound has a purpose, tied to a specific feeling or need. Let's break down the greatest hits. First, the most iconic, the howl. This is the classic long-distance "where are you" of the pack. When a husky howls because they're left alone, it's often a powerful expression of separation anxiety, a call into the void for their pack, that's you and your family, to come back. They are pack animals who were rarely, if ever, alone in their ancestral groups, so being by themselves can feel deeply unnatural and stressful. The howl can also just be a social thing. When one husky starts, others in the pack often join in, not because they're upset, but as a form of social bonding. Then there's the whine or cry. This is usually for more direct, immediate needs. A whine can mean they need something specific. They're hungry, have to go outside, or are feeling some physical discomfort. But it's also a big tool for expressing emotions like sadness, frustration, or boredom. If they can't reach a toy or feel like you're ignoring them, a whine is their go-to for saying, "Hey, I need you." Next up is the famous talking or the woo-woo sounds that made them internet stars. This is often a sign of pure excitement and engagement. They'll talk when you get home during playtime or when they just want to start a conversation. It's their way of showing affection and just enjoying the interaction. But this talking can also be their way of arguing. When you tell a husky to do something they don't want to, like take a bath or come inside, that stream of grumbles and woo-woos is their version of a debate. They're smart, independent thinkers, and they aren't afraid to tell you how they feel about it. Finally, we have the most dramatic of all, the husky scream. That intense, sometimes ear-splitting sound is usually triggered by a huge emotion. It's often a sign of extreme frustration, defiance, or just over-the-top excitement. Being told they can't have the last bite of your sandwich, or the sheer joy of knowing they're about to go for a run, can both set off a scream. It's their emotional volume cranked to the max, an unfiltered broadcast of exactly how they feel in that moment. Now that we get the ancient roots and the different sounds, how does this all apply to your husky in your home? The key is remembering that to your dog, you are the pack. Your family and any other pets are their entire social world. All those ancient instincts to communicate with the team are now aimed right at you. This is why separation anxiety can be so intense for the breed. When you leave the house, their primal brain doesn't get that you're just at work. It thinks a pack member is lost, triggering those desperate howls to call you back. Their cries are a genuine expression of stress and loneliness. Huskies are also incredibly smart, and this is where it gets complicated. They are masters of learning what works. If your husky cries or whines and you immediately run over to give them attention, food, or cuddles, they learn a simple equation: noise equals reward. They quickly figure out which sounds get the biggest reaction and will use them to their advantage. This doesn't make them manipulative, it just makes them clever. They're communicating in a way that gets results. If ignoring their subtle whines for attention leads them to a full-blown scream that finally gets you to respond, they'll learn that screaming is the fastest way to get what they want. This is also where the talking back comes in. When you give a command, you're being the pack leader. A husky's vocal response isn't always defiance just for the sake of it. It's a form of social negotiation. They are responding to their pack leader and expressing their opinion on the command. It's a level of communication that's rare in many other breeds and shows off their deep social intelligence. They aren't just taking orders, they're active participants in the conversation. Have you ever been driving with your husky when a siren goes off, only for your dog to erupt into a full-throated howl? This is one of the clearest examples of their ancient instincts kicking in. High-pitched, sustained sounds like sirens, some musical instruments, or even a baby crying can mimic the frequency of a pack howl. When your husky answers these sounds, it's an involuntary, instinctual reaction. They aren't in pain or necessarily upset. Their brain is just hardwired to answer what sounds like a call from another dog far away. It's a social reflex, an echo of their ancestors calling to each other across the Arctic plains. They're simply joining in a long-distance conversation that you happen to be hearing. While most husky noises are just them being them, it's really important to know when crying might signal a bigger problem. Because they're so expressive, a change in their vocal habits can be one of the first signs of pain or illness. If your usually quiet husky suddenly starts crying a lot, or if the sound of their cries changes to be more pained or urgent, it's time to pay close attention. Persistent whining or crying that isn't tied to an obvious reason, like wanting your food or attention, could point to pain. They might have an injury you can't see or be dealing with an internal issue. Huskies can be pretty stoic, but they will use their voice to let you know when they're not feeling well. This is why it's so important to become a student of your own dog's unique language. You know their typical grumbles, their happy woos, and their frustrated whines. Any change from that baseline, especially if it comes with other symptoms like being tired, not eating, or acting differently, means it's time to call your vet. Never just brush off persistent or weird crying as husky drama. It could be their only way of telling you they're in pain and need help. The cry of the Siberian Husky is so much more than a funny internet meme. It's a living, breathing piece of history. It's a language born from survival, fine-tuned over almost 10,000 years of partnership with humans. Every howl is a call to their pack. Every whine is an expression of a need or a feeling. And every dramatic, argumentative woo-woo is a sign of their intelligence and their deep need to communicate with us. They cry to tell us they're lonely, excited, frustrated, or just happy to be with their family. They cry to respond to the world around them, answering the ghost howls of sirens in the night. And sometimes they cry to let us know they're in pain. By understanding the why behind their voice, we stop being just owners and become true pack members. We learn to listen, not just hear. We learn to see their dramatic flair, not as a weird quirk, but as a sign of their incredible emotional depth and intelligence. They aren't just talking at us, they are talking to us. And honestly, listening to what they have to say is one of the greatest joys of sharing your life with one of these amazing animals. What's the most dramatic thing your husky has ever said to you? Share your stories in the comments below. And if you learned something new about these amazing dogs today, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the animal kingdom. Thanks for watching.